Today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, we are going to check out the Zen Q Synergy Core audio interface from Antelope Audio. Amongst a lot of my studio owning, engineering, and daily grinding audio friends, Antelope Audio is something that I always hear a lot about, but didn't have a lot of experience with up until very recently. Antelope Audio, for me, has always been that company that has insane sounding converters and, you know, just these really, really high quality, big old interfaces. However, that's all kind of changed in the last year or two with the Zen Q audio interface from Antelope Audio. Now, before we go any further, you can consider this a sponsored video, as Antelope Audio has sent me this Zen Q interface. However, all thoughts and opinions are mine. Now, the Zen Q Synergy Core has a hilarious amount of features for something this compact and small. Now, my Zen Q that I have here is a USB version, although it also comes in a Thunderbolt variant, and I am hooked into my Thunderbolt port on my MacBook. And it doesn't even get that hot either. It doesn't get hot in all of the hours I have used this thing, which I found to be an added bonus, to be honest. Now, in addition to 2 combo XLR jacks, you also have 2 instrument inputs on the front, as well as 2 headphone outputs. And then you have 4 1/4-inch analog outputs. And then all of the IO is expandable via SPDIF in and out, and ADAT in. So if you want to bring this to the session and then you end up needing to record something with needing a lot of inputs like a drum kit, you can simply get a 8-channel preamp, ADAT into it, record what you need to, unplug it, stick this in your backpack, and go. How cool is that? Okay, so I'm going to take you guys briefly through the control panel, the controlling software for the Zen Q Synergy, and I am going to start at the top and work our way down. So at the top, we have basically our 4 physical inputs on the interface. From left to right, we have XLR1, XLR2, and then we have high Z1 and high Z2. However, we have the options to make these basically whatever we want, right? So the microphone input on the back is a combination jack, and we can tell the interface if we want it to be mic, line, or high Z, etc., etc. For the high Z, obviously we can make this line in or high Z in, not microphone in, because it's not an XLR input. However, with the combination jacks, you can make them whatever you want. Moving down here, we are in the headphones, monitors and headphones mode. We have digital outs, and then we have DAW IO. But for right now, basically this is where all of the meat happens. We have our mixer, and right now we have preamp 3, 2, 3, computer play 2, computer play 1. What do these all mean? Well, any of these slots, we can make anything we want. So right now I have it preamp 3 and preamp 3, which you will see why in just a little bit. However, I can make this control preamp 1. I can make this second slot ADAT input 3, let's say. And this next one, I can make SPDIF input. I can make these whatever I want. So this is a little different from you guys that are maybe used to something like the Apollo console software, where each channel is a fixed assigned role. That's not the case here. It can be anything you need it to be. I think that's brilliant. Now, as an example, if I was to use my preamp in number 3, that would be coming in the line Z, the high Z input for the guitar input. If I wanted to monitor myself with, let's say, a guitar amp, I would click in the effects section, and I would go ahead and add, let's add a guitar amp. Let's do that, but we need a cabinet too, don't we? So I would go ahead and I would add a modern cabinet. There we go. If I want something after that, if I want, let's say, oh, there's a tuner. I can add a tuner. And all of these things are available to me in real time, latency free, on the way in, and I can also use any of these as a hardware insert real time inside my DAW. It just keeps getting better and better. Now moving on from that, you will notice your main output volume here on the bottom, and on the left we have some folder options. We have headphones 2 mix, we have a headphones 1 mix, so they're individual mixes, and then of course up here that's where we see the labeling for the preamps and the AFX. Now in the digital outputs we have control over the SBIF 1 and 2, because typically it's stereo, and here we have our control over what's actually coming in and out of our DAW. So when we're reamping and things like that, we have control over all of these things right here. But for all this, all intents and purposes, monitors and headphones is really where you're gonna be living with the control panel. Now, like I touched on before, the converters in the Zen Q are phenomenal. Now, Antelope Audio is known for their extremely clean conversion. This is no exception. When I say conversion, I am talking about the converters that convert analog to digital and digital to analog. This sounds extremely, extremely clean, completely transparent. In fact, this is not adding any additional grit or muddiness to any signal coming in or out. Okay, rather than just talk you guys through specs and features, I'm going to show you give an example of how I would use the Zen Q Synergy Core, okay? So I have the software open, the Zen Q software open, and the cool thing about this and the routing options is I can have 2 different tracks. Now I'm coming in up here. Here's my 4 inputs. Right now, my guitar is plugged into the high Z input of the Zen Q, and I'm coming in the high Z. Now I'm choosing to do 2 different things. I want to record my dry DI signal. I also want to monitor with a given sound in the box, just so I have something to listen to while I lay down my DI. So I've chosen track 1 for my guitar sound. This is just a scratch guitar sound. It's just something for me to listen to. And I've chosen this guitar amp, this modern guitar amp, and a guitar cabinet with greenbacks, and it sounds like this. Now that's input 1. Now also on input 3, don't ask me why I chose 3, I just happened to choose it. My preamp is set to also preamp 3, which is the high Z input as well. So I have 2 different tracks with the same input. However, I don't have any guitar or amp on this. I am just recording it dry because I want to track the DI. Now, I'm gonna come over here to Logic. I have a drum and bass part from one of my band songs, and I'm going to track my DI. I'm gonna arm the track, and then I'm gonna arm the track for the affected tone, just in case I wanna keep it, just in case, right? I am coming in live right here. I'm recording the dry and wet at the same time. I'm gonna go ahead and lay this, the one side down, and then I'm gonna come back again and lay down the right side. Cool. Now, if I were to listen back to what I recorded, I would hear my track. So I'm gonna go ahead and solo. This is my raw, naked guitar DI. Okay, and then my affected guitar tone. Just in case, we're not too concerned with how that sounds or anything like that. I'm gonna mute that for now. Now, we need to come in on the right side. So we're gonna repeat those steps, and let's go ahead and track the right side. Great. I have tracked my tracks. So for right now, I'm going to disarm these. I'm going to mute the wet signal coming in. I'm going to go back into my Zen Q software. And right now, I can go ahead and just mute the input of my guitar amp. I don't need those anymore. I'm all done playing guitar, right? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this guy down. And now what I want to do is I want to reamp. So because I have SPDIF in on the Zen Q, I have my universal audio aux box piped straight into the SPDIF left and right, which in this case is inputs 7 and 8. I have my ReAmp box hooked up to line out 3 on the Zen Q. Let's do some reamping. I'm going to arm my reamp track. I'm going to make sure my outgoing DI is going to the applicable output, which in this case should be output 3. I'm going to solo this. Just make sure my amp is on. In this case, I'm just going to pick the Badlander. I don't even know how this is going to sound, to be totally honest with you, but I'm just showing you guys how this workflow would work. And let's reamp this track. Cool. Let's do the other side. I'm going to mute that. Going to solo this. I'm going to arm my right side. Again, I want to make sure my outgoing DI is going out of the correct line out, which is output 3. Let's reamp. Great. I have tracked DI. I was able to monitor it at the same time, and I have now reamped my guitar tones. I have no idea how this is going to sound because I didn't plan ahead and think to dial in the amp, but I'm just trying to show you guys how this is going to sound. Let's go ahead and play this and see how this sounds. The guitar tone needs a little bit more gain. However, you can get the idea at how fast this workflow can be using the Zen Q Synergy Core. Really, really cool. Now the Zen Q comes with 37 free plugins. However, if you desire or have the need for additional plugins, you can have access to over 60 of them via the store on Antelope's website. Antelope Audio's Effects to DAW plugin is a bridge plugin that enables you to use the Synergy Core effects inside any DAW, and it has been out and working for most of their interfaces. However, it will be available for the Zen Q USB very, very soon. So final thoughts, what do I think? Well, I mean, honestly, this thing's $1,000, and what you get is basically a fully featured audio interface that is completely transparent sounding in its conversion. This thing is awesome, and it's bus powered, which I love. When I'm on tour, I absolutely despise having to carry around a power supply. I'll be honest, I want bus powered interfaces, and that's typically all I will take when I am tracking or doing anything on the road or in a hotel room or something like that. This is insanely powerful, and I have never seen SPDIF in or out on something with an interface that costs $1,000. I've just never seen it. I'm excited because I can now use my UAD aux box all the time, or any digital output hardware into something like the Zen Q and not have to worry about eating up an XLR input, for example. Really, really cool. I've been really impressed with this interface. The last few weeks I've had this. Really awesome. I will link down below in the description for all things Antelope Audio. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.